It is race day. This is the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. We're getting ready to kick off the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class. We have Jamie McCoy on the pole. It's going to be about an hour and a half of racing. It's going to be 4 laps, a wide open race. It's a 6-mile loop out there. The sun is out. The dust is thick. There was a chance of rain all weekend long, but we have dodged it so far today. But boy, the dust is thick. We will have a water truck on site for the short course a little bit here in the pits and whatnot. It's going to be a great day of racing. Thank you everybody here on site and back at home for staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. It's going to be one hell of a day. Be sure to tune in all day long. We got the 4900 Can-Am class getting ready to kick off. Next up will be the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle Modified class, the 4600 Spider Track Stock class, and the 4800 Legends the Brannick Legends class all at once. And then last but not least will be the 4400 Unlimited Nitto class. So we've got 3 races to come yet today. We already had the fun run this morning with the kids, the 170 class. So you can tune into King of the Hammers or Ultra4's Facebook and rewatch that later on today. But now we are live racing all day long, off and on. It's going to be a great day. I hope you guys are excited. I know I'm excited. It's been way too long, but we are about to kick this party off right. So tune in, and we'll give you live action all day long. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist, and it's going to be a good day. This is the four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. We're just moments away at kicking off. We're about 8 minutes away from going green flag. We're going to try to stick to our schedule as close as possible today. So 10 a.m. is the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class. And then roughly 12:30, we'll do the four-wheel parts Everyman Challenge classes. That's the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle class, the 4600 Spider Track Stock class, and the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. And then right around 3:30 will be the Unlimited Ultra4 4400 Nitto class. So we'll have a long, fun day of racing today. So on the pole is number 70. Jamie McCoy will be our pole setter. Right behind him, the 222 of Carson Atkins, followed by third place, Philip Poe. Number 502, James Cantrell in fourth. Number 5, 4932, Scott Lesage. Number 6, 4934, Scott Raymer. Number 7, 125, Malcolm McKenzie. Number 8, number 20, Travis Zollinger. Number 9, the 4929, John Roginski. 10th place is 225, Brandon Anderson. In 11th is 417, Justin Barth. In 12th position is McIntosh. 13th is number 24, Cole Clark. 14th is John Rance. And 15th is, wasn't able to qualify. He broke his car in qualifying, but 15th position is going to be Jody Ford. And we got a cool story for that. Jody Ford broke his car in pre-running yesterday. Couldn't find parts. It's a new Pro PXP. Couldn't find front axles anywhere. Searched high and low. Nobody had spares. It's too new. So he's been racing with us for quite a long time, and in the driver's meeting, he was just heartbroken that, it's not looking good. If I can find parts, it'll be okay. And Dave's like, hey, come see me after this. If we can't we'll make something happen. And so Dave, generous as he always is, said, hey, you're racing my Can-Am in this race. You got to bring some window nets, put it in there, and it's race ready. So Jody Ford's going to be racing Dave Cole's Can-Am, and that's the same Can-Am that Bailey Cole took me for a loop in. That thing works well, so he's going to be starting from the back of the pack. But remember, this race is on corrected time. This race will start in 30-second increments. It's going to be a 4-mile loop. And the loop is roughly 6 miles. I'm going to guess we're going to be in that 25-minute range. So before we get this kicked off, we got to give our sponsors a little love. We have Nitto, Can-Am, Ford, Monster, Optima batteries, 4-Wheel Parts, Progressive is the official insurance, Warren Winch, King Shocks, Amsoil, Griffin, Holly EFI, RCV, Titan Fuel Tanks, Boxo Tools, Yukon Gear and Axle, Fab School, PCI Race Radios, Laser Nut, Steal It, MBRP, Off the Grid Clothing, ARB, Rigid, VP Racing Fuels, RCV, HCR, Brannick Motorsports, PRP, Speed Trap, Factor 55, Action Sports Canopy, Squatch Box, last but not least, Savvy Off-Road. So again, support who supports the sport. Without those guys, we would not be racing today. So speaking of RCV, we got Mr. Ricky Berry right here. How excited are you to be out here just having some racing? It's been a while, hasn't it, buddy?
Man, we're really excited about it. You know, it's to be for us, you know, we're East Coast. So to see everybody travel over here from the West Coast and kind of pay us a visit and see what it's like in this beautiful, warm and sunny, little humid, little hot weather. But it's great. We're ready. We're ready for a good day.
Well, thank you again, RCV and Ricky B. It's always a pleasure to see you, my man. Still waiting on a couple guys to get lined up. Still waiting on our pole setter, Jamie McCoy. Looks like he may get a rear start. Not sure what happened. So we're just moments away. Here's Jamie McCoy. I hear the horn. Travis, here's Jamie coming up. So Jamie McCoy almost missed the buzzer, but here he is. Had a little issues, but that Can-Am is getting ready to take the green flag. You talk about down to the wire, but Mr. Jamie McCoy with his 59-second qualifying run yesterday is about to take the green flag. Remember, this is going to be a 4-lap race, and they are 6-mile loops. This race is on corrected time, sending them out in 30-second increments. About to get this party kicked off. Just a few minutes away, and we will be live action racing for the 2020 4-Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee at the AOP Off-Road Park. Adventure Off-Road Park here in southern Tennessee. It's 600 acres in the hill country of Tennessee. Absolutely beautiful park. There's still lots of room to come out and check it out. It's only $20 a head, $5 to camp. They're open year-round every single weekend. They're even open during the week. Monday through Wednesday, they've got a drop box. It's an honor system. So, you know, come out and support these guys. It's an awesome venue here. Great parking, great camping, amazing rocks out here. And they were calling for rain, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm hoping it doesn't happen. But, boy, the dust is going to play its factor. So it's going to be a huge advantage for Jamie McCoy and his Can-Am starting out front. This is our first race back this season since the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers powered by Optima Battery. That was in early February, and one heck of a week it was. My favorite time of the year is King of the Hammers week. So this is our first regional race since the rest of the season was canceled, but we're back in action. We're hoping to keep it going for the rest of the season. Up next will be the Rumble in Reno at the Wild West Motorsports Park outside of Lake Tahoe. After that, we'll have our Nitto National Championship in Davis, Oklahoma. At the Crossbar Ranch, we'll have our end-of-the-year awards ceremony following that night. But we are moments away from the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV race. Jamie McCoy on the pole in his Can-Am. He is a Can-Am athlete. He was new to our series last year, but he races a lot and has really proven that he's earned that top position. So we're less than a minute away. We're doing our final checks. We got our PCI race radios checking out making sure everybody's safe out there. Doing our final checks with Dave Cole, JT Taylor, and our new president, Ryan Thomas. Everybody's dotting their I's, crossing their T's. Stay tuned in, ultra4racing.com/live. There's a great shot of our Nitto Arch with Jamie McCoy patiently awaiting. Right behind him, it's going to be Carson Atkins and then Philip Poe. Remember, this is a race on corrected time, so starting up front is an advantage on the dust, but on corrected time, it's kind of scary because how hard do you push? Because if somebody passes you, you're passed. All Kevin Atkins Carson Atkins just has to keep McCoy in his sights and finish within 30 seconds of him to beat him. This is a 6-mile loop with a lot of tight technical turns, lots of hill climbs with huge boulders. I think there's going to be a lot of tire action out there, so the progressive hot pits will be hot today. So we're here at the Nitto start for the 4-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee for the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class. Moments away. We are dead smack middle in between Nashville, Knoxville, Birmingham, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia. About an hour and a half between all those major cities. We're out here just outside of South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, just north of the Alabama line. It's going to be a hot one today. They're calling for rain this afternoon, but we'll see. They've called for rain every day this week, but it splits this little mountain here, so it's been kind of nice. A little rain would be handy for the dust, but I hate the mud. So do the racers, except for those Rufus Goofus. Still hearing a little chatter through my PCI race radio, getting everything dialed in. We should be live any moment. Thank you, everybody back home tuning in, ultra4racing.com/live. You can do it here on site or all over the world. We've got a huge presence over in Europe. Got a lot of guys up in Canada that have tuned in. A few down in Mexico, all over the United States. Looks like we're getting close. Getting ready for that 5 count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go time. Jamie McCoy takes the green flag. So in 30 seconds, we will have Carson Atkins taking off. And look, you can't see it from that camera point, but Jamie McCoy kicked up one heck of a dust cloud. So that's handy for that 30-second. And back in the woods, there's definitely spots that are dusty, but it's really hard packed in some of the spots back there. So we'll see if Carson can gain some time. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Carson Atkins chasing down Jamie McCoy. We've got 15 cars that will take the green flag, taking off in 30-second increments for 4 loops. We got Philip Poe in his Can-Am. He'll be chasing down Jamie McCoy and Carson Atkins. This is the 2020 4-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. Philip Poe, 3, 2, 1, green flag drops. They're all taking off from this Nitto Arch. There's the number 502, James Cantrell, running that Mad Ram 11 UTV. He's been racing with us quite a while, and he's got the checkers or wreckers mentality. He's going for the win or the tree. We'll find out. James Cantrell all over the skinny pedal. He'll be chasing down Philip Poe, Carson Atkins, and Jamie McCoy. Taking off in that 5th position is Scott Lesage. He's been racing with us for quite a while. I had a great talk with him the other night. He comes from the San Diego, California area. It was like a 50-plus hour drive for him to get out here, mainly by himself. Met up with a couple buddies that are fairly local. He's got some determination. 3, 2, 1, Scott Lesage chasing down James Cantrell for the 2020 4-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. We have Scott Raymer getting ready to take off in his Fuel Works UTV. He's running the portal, so he has great ground clearance. It's a big machine. Scott Raymer getting ready to take off. There's the green flag. So we've got 6 guys out on course. Number 7, part of Rufus Racing, the 125, Malcolm McKenzie. Patiently awaiting. They were doing their rain dance yesterday, but it has not worked thus far today. The sun is shining. The wind is just barely blowing. We were hoping for a little bit more wind for this dust. But Malcolm McKenzie getting the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, green flag. Malcolm McKenzie taking off in that 7th position. Remember, this race is on corrected time. So we've got half of our guys out on course. Number 8, he is a former national points in the Ultra4 series. Number 20, Travis Zollinger with ZRP. Mr. ZRP running his Can-Am. He's fresh off a run at the Silver State 300. 3, 2, 1, Travis Zollinger, ZRP Racing in his Can-Am, chasing down the pack. So we are over halfway with these cars out on course. It is a 6-mile loop. I'm going to guess we're going to be in that 25-minute range. So it should be an interesting day of racing. It should take up all of that hour and a half. Up next, the 49-29 of John Rodzinski. The 225 taking off in... Sorry, I got that mixed up. That was the 225 of Brandon Anderson. So I have those guys swapped up in mine. So I'll have to remember that for corrected time. So Brandon Anderson in the 225 taking off. Up next is the 49-29 John Rodzinski. We've got the Nitto Arch start line, getting the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. John Rodzinski getting the green flag, hot on course. Up next out of Springfield, Missouri is the 417 of Justin Barth. He's running double duty today. He's running his UTV this morning, and he'll run in the Legends class also. .417 Justin Barth, hot on course, chasing down the rest of the pack. Up next is a heavy hitter starting towards the rear of the pack. Number 24, part of the Jimmy's Army, Cole Clark. He's buddies with Cade Rod. They run all over these races. So we have Cade going to be pitting in the progressive hot pits. For Cole Clark getting the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green flag for Cole Clark, number 24, out of Colorado. And the dust is thick down here. So the 49-18, Matt McIntosh. Looks like Cole Clark and Matt got swapped up on me also. I apologize about that. But the 49-18, Matt McIntosh getting ready to chase down Cole Clark, and he gets the green flag. The 49-18, Matt McIntosh. 49-31, this is John Rance. He's been with us for quite a while. He's raced a couple, co-drove a lot, but he's stepping in the UTV. That's Sean Rance Sr.'s son, so it's great to see the family tradition keep rolling. So John Rance in the 49-31, patiently awaiting that 30-second increments for corrected time. 3, 2, 1, John Rance hot on course. Last but certainly not least, we have another Nitto athlete. That is Mr. Jody Ford. I was talking about him earlier. He has a brand new Pro PXP, and he broke some axles, couldn't find parts, was super bummed. He's raced with us a long time. He's fought cancer and beat it, but now he's got some other issues going on. So this is going to be his last race racing with us. Couldn't find parts. Dave Cole pulls him aside. Hey, you're running my Can-Am. Go get some safety equipment and let's get on the race course. So last off the line is Mr. Jody Ford, Team Indiana, heading out. So we have 15 cars out on course as we speak. We have 3 cameras out on course. We have 1 at the finish line, 1 here at the start. So once they come out of the woods, they'll hit the Can-Am corner. It'll be wide open down the MBRP straightaway. And then there's the King Shock bumps. They're chevrons. They're little V speed bumps. And then we'll head into the short course, hit the Yukon Gear and Axle tabletop. And that passes right by the Amsoil Oasis, and then it comes into the progressive pits. It is hot pits. You have to do a 25 miles an hour through here. So we have 15 cars out on course for this 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. This is the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class. They are racing 4 loops of 6 miles apiece, roughly. This is on corrected time. They took off in 30-second increments. So it took roughly 7-8 minutes to send them all out, so it'll be down to that last wire to see if Jamie McCoy can keep his pole position. Like I said, I'm going to guess him right around that 25-minute mark. So thank you, everybody on site and back at home all over the world for tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live. This is the race to watch. We will be live off and on all day long with action, action, action. We'll have 3 races today. We kicked it off this morning with a little fun run with the kiddos. Great to see all those girls and boys racing with us this morning. It was a cool little thing. Ryan and Dave threw it at everybody last second. Chris May kind of helped run it. It was a lot of fun this morning. So we got to give a little sponsor love while we're waiting for some action to come to screen. Please support who supports us. We have Nitto, Can-Am, Ford, Monster, Optima, 4-wheel parts, and Progressive, to name a few. So please support who supports the sport. This is our first race back since the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers, powered by Optima Battery. We had a little lull in the action just like everybody all over the world, so we're just happy to have a little bit of normality back to life. Our next race will be the Lasernut Rumble in Reno at the Wild West Motorsports Park. That's usually where we hold our nationals, but with this season being a little goofy, we figured to hold the nationals in the middle of the United States. They're in Davis, Oklahoma, for our Nitto National Championship at the Crossbar Ranch. So thank you, everybody back home, for tuning in. And just for a little tidbit for you guys, we're going to run a promo code on our Ultra4 Racing website. You can buy all of our apparel. So be sure to log on today and tomorrow. Roxy's going to be throwing out 20% off. So go down there, buy some swag, get some early Christmas presents. It's all capitals, Teardown20. So hit promo code all capitals, TEARDOWN20. Teardown20 gets you 20% off all of our swag, hats, shirts, hoodies, and all of the good stuff. We have event t-shirts and everything. We have a few event t-shirts still here on site. Roxy is here with some of our swag. We did not bring our huge trailer all the way across the nation. So thank you for everybody for respecting the social distance out here. We're doing our best to have fun and still use a little common sense. We're wearing our masks when we have to. We're keeping our 6 foot when we can. But it is race time. This is 4 laps of 6 miles apiece on corrected time. We're here at the AOP Off-Road Park. It is open year-round every single weekend, $20 a day per person, $5 to camp, and they have an honor system Monday through Wednesday. They've got a little mailbox, so drop your envelope with some cash in there and come play. Nobody on site, but you can still come out here and have a good time if you're passing through. This is an amazing venue, lots of trails, 600 acres. They've got a great facility with showers and bathrooms, lots of spots for camping. This year it is not an East versus West championship. It's going to be a national championship. So we have 4 races this year. We had the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers. We're at the Teardown in Tennessee. We have the Rumble in Reno yet to come, and then the national points. So normally you have to keep your King of the Hammers points, but this year we're going to switch it up a little bit. You only have to count 3 of your races, but you have to keep nationals this year instead of King of the Hammers. So your best 3 races out of 4, and that's going to set up our national champion. Last year was Josh Blyler, our current king. That was the fastest man in yesterday's qualifier. He ran a 57-second lap. So he's just proving why it's good to be king. So far, so good. Thank you, everybody, for staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Looks like we're getting a little bit of action out in the woods. That is Jody Ford, I believe, and Dave Cole's Can-Am. Couldn't tell if we were frozen, but no, he's having some kind of issues, but it looks like he's barely moving. There's some big, nasty rocks out there, and remember, he's in a rental, so he's trying not to tear it up too bad. But again, it's just great to see Jody out there racing. He's been racing with us for such a long time, and with his health issues, this is going to be his last race for a couple years. He's got to have some treatment when he gets home, but great to see him out here racing with us. There's where we all started this race, underneath the Nitto Arch. This is the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. So a huge shout out to Four Wheel Parts for sponsoring our Eastern Series, and Laser Nut for sponsoring our Western Series on every single kick-ass trophy of this season. So thank you, Cody Wagner and Laser Nut, for sponsoring the West Coast Series and the trophies. So again, thank you all our sponsors. We would not be racing here today without it. So there's a great shot from one of our cameras out on one of the gnarly rock sections. I was lucky enough to take a spin with Bailey Cole in that Can-Am that Jody Ford's racing. And like I said, it's 6 miles, but it's a hard 6 miles. And those UTVs, most of them are running like 32, 33-inch tires. And some of those rocks are bigger than those. I suspect lots of tire changing here in the Progressive Hot Pits today. Hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit of action. Still waiting to see if we can get a couple coming through. Is it going to be Jamie McCoy coming out of the woods in the Can-Am? Again, everything I say is unofficial until we dot our I's, cross our T's. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist. I do my best. I have fun with it, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. I think I hear somebody coming. So if that's a Can-Am, it sounds like, could it be Jamie McCoy? So if is, it's going to be a sub-20. Well, he's still got the short course, so he'll be right around that 20-minute mark. So I'm waiting to get a physical view. I see a car coming out of the woods. I believe it is Jamie McCoy. Yes, it is, number 70, our pole setter in that Can-Am. Jamie McCoy coming through the Can-Am corner. Getting ready to hit just hit the MBRP straightaway, getting ready to hit the King Shocks Chevron. We dug some holes in that rock because it's probably a 300 to 400 yard dead sprint. So right in the middle, we had to slow them down. Otherwise, they'd be sniffing 100 miles an hour hitting the Yukon Gear and Axle tabletop. So it's going to be really close. I think I hear another one. It's going to be, they're not too spread out. It's going to be still right around that 30-second mark. Hopefully we can get some live splits. Looks like on screen's the 225. That's Brandon Anderson, but it looked like that was the 222 of Carson Atkins coming through the Can-Am corner, hitting the MBRP straightaway, straight in the King Shocks Chevron. And those UTVs, like I said, only have like a 32, 33-inch tire going through those huge holes, but it's getting burned in. Just something to slow them down for everybody's safety. But number 1 and 2 is heading into the short course. So getting a little chatter through my PCI race radio. It sounds like Jody Ford's having a little issue, so tough break for him. But you can get on Ultra4Racing.com, and I believe we have our live tracking on there, so we'll get a time. Yes, so Jamie McCoy, our finish line is so got a thumbs up from Jamie McCoy. He does 25 miles an hour through the progressive hot pits, and he is back out on his second lap. So Jamie McCoy with a time of 17:26, but Carson Atkins just turned a 17:40. So on corrected time, Carson Atkins is ahead of Jamie McCoy. Our finish line is at the end of the short course at the Big Nitto trailer. We have some checkered flags down there. So sub 20 minutes. I was guessing 25, so these guys are really hauling the mail. So we're going to be finished right around that hour and 20 mark if everything keeps going. So Carson Atkins, number 1722. So sitting first physically is Jamie McCoy, but on corrected time, it's Carson Atkins. It's going to be a battle to the finish. So still waiting for our third car to come through. So Carson Atkins and Jamie McCoy have a commanding lead. Getting a little chatter through here that there's already some carnage out on course. What a great day of racing we've started out. Jamie McCoy, Carson Atkins way out front for first and second. Jamie McCoy, our pole setter. But Carson Atkins on corrected time has him, but that could change right now. Could change next second. We'll see when they finish their second lap. It's a 6-mile loop. We're running 4 laps for the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. It's an absolutely gorgeous day out here. I'm underneath my Action Sports canopy with a little bit of shade. The dust is thick. The wind, it's just almost nothing right now. So that dust in that short course is going to play its toll. So we have the 6-mile loop through the, well, it's probably about a 5.5 mile through the wood loop, and then it goes into a short course. And then it comes out of the woods into the Can-Am corner, and then we hit the MBRP straightaway, and then we hit that King Shocks Chevron, and then we drop into the short course and hit the Yukon Gear and Axle tabletop, and that passes right by the Amsoil Oasis, and then we hit the four-wheel parts finish before we come into the Progressive Pits. The Progressive Pits is 25 miles an hour, but you are able, to change tire, take a splash of fuel. I should have talked to a few drivers about fuel strategy. I kind of forgot about that till right now. So 20, so they can probably run wide open on one single tank of fuel, most of them, I would assume. So this is our second race of this season. Our first one was the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers powered by Optima Battery. We're here at the four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee at the AOP Off-Road Park. Up next will be the Rumble in Reno at the Wild West Motorsports Park just outside of Lake Tahoe area. And then last but not least, National Championship in Davis, Oklahoma at the Crossbar Ranch. So this year we're only running 4 races with the world's turning. At least we're back to racing. I know I'm having fun. I hope you guys are also, but there's something happened. We haven't seen Philip Poe, haven't seen James Cantrell, Scott Lesage, Scott Raymer, Malcolm McKenzie, Travis Zollinger, John Roginski, Brandon Anderson, Justin Barth, Matt McIntosh, Cole Clark, John Rance, and I heard Jody Ford is broke, but I hear some noise. And from here it sounds like that's James Cantrell. We'll see. He started in that 4th position. I can hear him, but I cannot see him. But I see some rigid lights coming through the woods. And it does look like, yes, I was correct. That's the number 502 Mad Ram Levin machine. James Cantrell physically in third position. But Jamie McCoy and Carson Atkins have a commanding lead over Cantrell. So Cantrell's hitting the MBRP straightaway as we speak, dropping into the King Shock Chevron. So we're 23 minutes into this race, so that means McCoy and Atkins have a 5 to 7 minute lead over Cantrell, but where's the rest of the pack? We started with 15. We know one's out with Jody Ford, unless he can throw some parts on maybe Cantrell's or somebody's. Sounds like he's got a bearing or something that went out. So racers can help racers, but nobody else can go out and help him unless you're a fellow racer or here in the hot pits. So while we got a little lonely, Ashton, who do we got here but Mr. three-time king Shannon Campbell? How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. Just loving this heat.
It's a little hot here, isn't it? But you're used to the heat, but you have a dry heat back in Arizona. This stuff's humid, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty moist.
I've heard that about you. But you guys have been having a lot of fun out here. You did a lot of pre-running. You hit the Amsoil Oasis with that little rope swing, cooled off a little bit a couple days ago, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I ate shit on that thing a couple times.
But you're one of the biggest names in our sport. You're a monster Nitto athlete. Thank you for always coming. You're just a lot of fun to be around. You help everybody out here, and it's just a pleasure to have you at most of these races.
Well, I was glad to be here and see all my friends I haven't seen in a while.
It's been way too long, but glad to see you here. He'll be racing in the 4400 Nitto Unlimited class later on this afternoon. You're starting up front, but not out front. What's your strategy going to be today in the big race?
Well, keep it together, and hopefully I can get around some of them guys after they beat the crap out of each other.
So it sounded like I was talking to Waylon last night, and he was pretty proud that he smoked you and Bailey.
Yeah, but not very much, so he better not be too proud.
I love how you guys give each other a lot of hack. And these UTVs just turned a 17-minute lap. I was guessing a 25-minute lap. There comes Scott Lesage through the Can-Am corner, so that's physical fourth. But a 17-minute lap out there, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
That's moving pretty good in them little things. They're impressive anyway, them UTVs, and yeah, so these guys, just keeping them together and all them rocks is the big thing for them.
And you're not used to all the tight technical trees back home, but you've raced all over the country, so you're used to it. You just don't like it quite as much. These UTVs are a lot skinnier, so a lot more nimble, but you have all the travel, all the horsepower, all the tires. Do you think you can beat that 17-minute lap?
Well, I'm going to sure give it hell. I don't know. I love the trees, though. I just hate when I hit them.
You got to love them, but you hate to hit them. I love it. But, yeah, thanks to the whole Campbell Enterprise. You guys have a lot of cars out here. You got Levi still racing in one of your cars. So far, everything's going good, I think. What's your strategy for all three of your cars racing today?
Yeah, hopefully we just get a good start. And I know Bailey, she was bummed out. She knocked her front-wheel drive out yesterday before she took off. She had the front stick out, and she qualified pretty bad, so she's kind of upset with herself. But, it's a long race, and there's going to be a lot of carnage. So I told her just keep it going, and she'll catch up. She's fast.
She is absolutely fast. I mean, she was leading this year's King of the Hammers for quite a while and then had that stupid water pump issue. But, yeah, she's proven. She's got Ryan Miller riding shotgun with her. It's going to be fun to see how she can tangle with the big boys, and she's already proven she can.
Yep, she's impressing me every day. She works hard, and her and Waylon both, they just, I don't know, they're at that age where they can see good. They'd run me over most of the time. I'm in their way, but it's good racing and having fun with them, and, yeah, I was glad to see everybody here.
So it's an eight-lap race for you guys at 6 miles. So what's that, 40 miles? You can run that in one tank of fuel for sure, right?
I hope so. Yeah, mine's a little tank. I got 35 gallons. The kids, they both have big tanks. So, yeah, they can do it on one tank. But I might have to stop and fuel it. We're not sure. We didn't get real good mileage check yesterday. So
I got number 20, Travis Zollinger, but number 4929, that's John Roginski all over Zollinger. So they've been battling hard in the woods, getting ready to hit the King Shock Chevron. So we've had Jamie McCoy through, Carson Atkins, James Cantrell, Scott Lesage, Travis Zollinger, John Roginski. So we've only got about 7 cars through on their first lap. So looks like that's Scott Lesage coming up through the progressive pits. Looks like the car's still in good shape. He is running, giving big thumbs up from Scott Lesage. These guys are running hard. They're only running 4 laps, so they're heading out on lap 2 right now. But Jamie McCoy and Carson Atkins are way out front. So, Shannon, thanks again for coming through and chatting with me, buddy.
Good to see you, Miles. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Good luck today, man.
Thank you.
So we still have Jamie McCoy, Carson Atkins, James Cantrell, and Scott Lesage out on their second lap. But remember, it was John Roginski and Travis Zollinger all over each other. So they should be coming through here very shortly. And we just got a lap time from Travis Zollinger with a 25-minute 31-second. Scott Lesage did a 25-minute even. James Cantrell was a 23:16. Carson Atkins with the fastest lap of the day with a 17:40, and James McCoy with that 17:26. Just got a time for John Roginski with a 24:46. So that's going to put him in that 3rd to 4th position on corrected time. I think I see Justin Barth coming out. Yes, it is, hitting the Can-Am quarter. The 417 of Justin Barth hitting the MBRP straightaway. He's pulling double duty today. He's racing a Jimmy's chassis in the 4800 Legends class shortly. So we got the number 20, Travis Zollinger, getting ready to take out on his second lap. Getting the thumbs up from him in his Can-Am back to race speed because it is 25 miles an hour in the progressive hot pits. The dust is thick down there in the short course. So John Roginski and Travis Zollinger spread out a little bit in the short course because I think what probably happens down there is just absolutely too dusty that if you're on somebody's tail, you're going to be just caught in nothing. So you have to back off just a little bit, give the guy in front of you some room so you get a little bit of clean air to see through it. But dust is definitely going to play its toll, mainly in the short course. But like I said, there are spots in the woods where it can be dusty. And then you have to battle the shade with the sun coming through some of the canopy. So there's a great shot to show you how dusty it is down there in the short course. So we have one camera in the short course. We're saving our drone for later today. That looks like that's Justin Barth on screen, getting ready to hit the 4-wheel parts finish line for his second lap. So we'll get a time on him shortly. So a time for Justin Barth is 26:17. So still the fastest time of the day is Jamie McCoy, but on corrected time, it's Carson Atkins. So it's going to be down to the wire. This will be a race to the finish. There's the 125, part of Rufus Racing, Malcolm McKenzie. Can see Justin Barth in the hot pits, driving by his pits, turning hard right, hard left, checking out all that suspension. Gets a thumbs up from him, gets a thumbs up from his crew. He cruises through the progressive hot pits, getting ready to head out for his second lap. Getting the big thumbs up from Justin Barth, heading out. He'll have some clean air. He's sitting physically So that puts Justin Barth physically in 7th. Malcolm McKenzie should be coming through physically in 8th. They did start in 30-second increments, so McCoy has to beat everybody. If he gets past, he is not going to be on the podium. And it was Jamie McCoy and Carson Atkins is the race we need to pay attention to right now, 1st and 2nd. 125, Malcolm McKenzie, part of Rufus Racing. getting a thumbs up from them, coming through the Nitto Arch, heading out on lap 2. So we'll see if they can keep up that pace out there. These guys are running 4 laps, so roughly 24 miles today. This is the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee here at the Adventure Off-Road Park in southern Tennessee, just north of the Alabama border. The weather is hot today. They were calling for rain, but the blue sky is out. There's definitely clouds around, but so far, so good. This is our second race back in this season. The first one was the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers. We are here at the four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. Up next is going to be the Laser Nut Rumble in Reno. Last but not least will be the Nitto National Championship at the Crossbar Ranch there in Davis, Oklahoma. Not too far. All over the throttle on the MBRP straightaway, getting ready to hit the King Shocks chevrons. So how far back is Carson Atkins? So the only one that's halfway through this race right now as we speak is Jamie McCoy. Remember, there's the Yukon Gear and Axle tabletop. You can tune into Ultra4 Racing and watch the live. If somebody was behind them, they couldn't see a thing. See our Ultra4 finish flags there at the four-wheel parts finish line. Jamie McCoy will have a time for him very soon. I think he's slowed down his pace just a tick. I don't know. So is he getting some PCI race radio information from his team to slow down? Great shot of Justin Barth on screen. But Jamie McCoy is the only one in his Can-Am out on his third lap. He is halfway through this race, but a great shot. Camera guys running up the trail right behind him. So a huge shout out to those guys. They're out in the elements all day long. Our Hammer King production team is strong out here in Tennessee. So we have a little bit of action in the Progressive Insurance hot pits. Looks like Jamie McCoy's coming in. Looks like he may have a right front flat tire, which he does, so they're getting their Pro Eagle jack under there. They'll get that swapped out. They got all hands on deck getting Jamie McCoy's right front tire fixed. So that makes more sense. When I saw him coming through, he had a flag out, so that was letting his team know, hey, we're coming in. So they were ready, had the jack out, had the impact. They are smoking through this tire change. Jamie McCoy in the Progressive hot pits as we speak. They got about 6 or 8 guys in his tent changing that right front flat, so that's why he was a little bit slower off his own pace. trying to keep everything going. It looks like we see the Rufus Racing team working on a UTV down there as well. Like I said, the rocks out there, the rocks, the trees, and the stumps are killing some tires. So a quick tire change for Jamie McCoy. Now he's back out, heading out for lap 3 halfway through. Big thumbs up from both of them. Jamie McCoy and his Can-Am, physically and on corrected time, first place. Another great shot of the 125, part of Rufus Racing. That's Malcolm McKenzie on screen with one of our live cameras out in the woods. They're like 3 or 4 miles out. We scan our own internet. Travis is a mastermind behind that. Have 4 modems running to bring you a live action from the middle of nowhere in Tennessee. So great shout out to the Hammer King production guys. We've got a great team behind the scenes, so huge shout out to everybody that helps us put this show on. Ultra4Racing.com/live. Make sure you tune in all day long. This is the first of 3 races. Well, this is technically the second of 4 races. We ran the 170 class this morning. It was a lot of fun. The little kids had a great time this morning. They ran 6 laps around the short course, and Trent took it home. We've got Atkins limping along with a right rear flat, so that's why he was running a little slower this morning. So Carson Atkins with a right rear flat, physically in second, I believe. I see Ross Pilgrim's old machine. I think that's Scott Raymer, if my memory's correct. Yes, 49.34. Scott Raymer heading out for his second lap. That rig has portals, so he's got a great ground clearance for all those rocks. So it's still Jamie McCoy is the only one who's finished 2 laps. So we got the number 502, James Cantrell, giving me the big thumbs up. Mad Ram 11 powered machine all over the throttle, finishing his first lap. So Jamie McCoy, I believe, passed a lot of guys out there. What a great day of racing we're under. So I found another former king, a 2-time king, Mr. Loren Healy. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, Miles, doing awesome. Excited to be back out racing again, and just pumped to be back out here with the racing family. It's good to see everybody for sure.
Yeah, you've definitely been busy doing your own fun haver stuff. You've been wheeling all over, being all by yourself out in the middle of nowhere. So still, bringing us content. I'm a huge follower of all your stuff, so thanks for doing that. But like you said, I've missed the Ultra4 family.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're just trying to stay in front of everybody. We know with losing some of the race events that we needed to do whatever we could to stay in front of everybody. And, super lucky that right now Ford's launching the new Bronco, and we've got to be involved with that. And, that we're just really, really excited and passionate where that's headed for next year. So, just doing everything we can to stay in front of everybody right now. And social media is our best chance.
And speaking about Ford, how cool is it for them to step up? You've recently put a front Ford Bronco clip on your car because there's some contingency money at the 2021 King of the Hammers next year. If you run a Ford Bronco and you're up front, you get a little extra cash.
Yeah, I mean, that's super cool. I think they even offered, there's going to be a free Bronco to the winner of King of Hammers next year, I think is what Dave Rivers told us in the drivers meeting. So, when we found out about all that, we definitely wanted to put a Ford motor and a Ford Bronco clip on the front of our race truck and really have it be a Bronco-inspired vehicle.
And speaking about Bronco, you were a little bit involved with some of that launch, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I haven't been too much involved with the launch except for on social media and that type of stuff. We've been, we've crawled all over the Broncos. They're amazing vehicles. I'm so excited for everybody to see them.
Are you going to get a Bronco when they come out?
Oh yeah, we all put down our $100 and ordered up Broncos, and I think you'll see some really cool stuff come out of us here in the future. So yeah, I mean you've seen us out testing the Fun Runner, and that's no coincidence that we built that Ranger very similar to what a Bronco is going to end up being like. So we're definitely pushing hard in that arena.
So a Ford Bronco's only $100?
Your deposit was $100. I mean, it seemed like it broke the internet last week when they launched that. Every single person I know put down their $100 and got in line to get a Bronco. So it was very smart of them. I'm excited to see all the excitement. Jeep has needed some competition for a lot of years, and they're coming for it.
Yeah. So again, huge shout out to Ford for stepping up, but also you're a Nitto athlete, you're a monster athlete, MBRP. So all of our main sponsors are all over your rig. So how cool is that to see? We got the 4918. That's Matt McIntosh coming through. But like I said, a lot of our main sponsors are on your car, so you're a perfect poster child for here at Ultra4. So again, huge shout out to you, huge shout out to our sponsors, but give them some love also.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we love partnering with the companies that want to support our sport.
Cool, sounds good.
And what we do, you know, anybody who's passionate about off-road loves Ultra4, and we just help them tie it all together, and very grateful for those opportunities for like you said, Optima, Nitto Tire, MBRP Exhaust, Monster Energy, everybody that's supporting our program, we're very grateful for, and you know, they're supporting the sport. They're what's keeping this out here running, and without them, we can't do this. So very grateful for those opportunities, and you know, like I said, just get this 100%, and they love shooting off-road stuff. So yeah, we're out here to have fun and see where we can end up on the race.
So speaking about the race, what is race strategy? Your mid-pack, you got a big car. That thing's wide. There's a lot of trees. You hate the mud. It's not muddy yet, but there's still a chance. But what is the strategy on race day with that huge Ford horsepower?
You know, I'm just going to stay moving, run my own race, run my own pace. The trees racers like Josh and Eric and Derek, usually those guys can only beat themselves out here in the woods. You know, I've won in Arkansas, I've won in Oklahoma, probably had some luck with that stuff, but strategy is just stay moving, don't kill any car parts, tires, wheels, A-arms on trees. Like just stay moving, stay consistent, don't make that big mistake, and see where I'm at the end. You know, starting mid-pack, I was definitely conservative in qualifying, and it was such a short track, and taking out the long straightaway and stuff, it definitely hurt me for a bigger, wider IFS car. But you know, I'm completely okay with starting mid-pack and just gonna run a conservative race and see where I'm at. I'm not super stressed about it right now.
So yeah, I mean, so back to that, starting mid-pack is actually have its advantages, because this race is on corrected time. I don't want to confirm this, but I've heard it's 20-second increments, because we're a little worried with as many cars as we have that we couldn't get all the cars off at 30 seconds. So it's 20-second increments as of now. So we'll see how that plays out. So, you know, Blyler, you're going to be chasing him down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the game plan, to see Blyler, Derek, and Eric here sometime towards the end of the race, and that'll definitely be a good goal for me. But you know, the traffic jams and that stuff's going to play into it pretty huge. So you know, just have to see how it falls out. It's really tight and technical in the trees. There's not very much room for passing in there. I think you've got to be patient and give people a little bit of room. There's nowhere for somebody to pull off. So when you catch somebody, you've either got to get one of the other lines and get around them, because if not, there's nowhere for them to go. And just be patient. And I heard the UTVs were running 17-minute laps, so that's cooking out there. I don't expect that the 4400s will be a whole lot faster than that. I mean, you might see just under that. I think it's going to turn into like a 2-hour, 20-minute race, probably, something like that for the winner.
All right, well, again, two-time King of the Hammers winner, Loren Healy. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Miles. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Can't wait to get back to the racetracks.
All right, well, thanks again, Loren. So on screen is our current race. No, that is Travis Zollinger and his Can-Am, sorry. He's running a very strong race today. That's one of our cameras out in the woods. This is a 6-mile loop. These guys are running 4 miles. or sorry, 4 laps of 6 miles. So it's a 24-mile race for these guys, roughly, for the 2020 four-wheel park down in Tennessee. We got a great crowd here on site. Thank you for everybody staying tuned in. Ultra4Racing.com/live. Get on our King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit that share button. Get on the Ultra4 Instagram. Hashtag it up. Let's get some fans all over. I know we have some people tuning in from Europe, from Mexico, up in Canada, and all over the United States. So thank you, everybody, for staying tuned. There's a great chat on the King Facebook right now. So give
All right, did you get my message?
So out front physically and on corrected time is Jamie
Awesome.
McCoy.
Thanks, buddy.
Second place physically and corrected time is Carson Atkins. Both of them had flat tires on their second lap. I can't think of anything better to do today. So if you're fairly local, come on out. It's only $20 to get in this park. This is the Adventure Off-Road Park just outside of South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, just north of the Alabama line. This is a great 600-acre facility. They've got restrooms, showers, plenty of room for parking and camping. They're open every single weekend of the year. And they have an honor system. All capitals, tear down 20. Tear down 20, get you 20% off this whole weekend. And Roxy will be shipping you some stuff out next week. Get yourself some swag, some event t-shirts, a hat, a hoodie. And then last but not least will be our Nitto National Championship. Only about a 4-hour drive for me. So here comes Scott Lesage. He's having a great run. And this guy is just a sport guy. He is all about. He drove out here roughly 50 hours from the San Diego area by himself until he got just a couple hours away, met up with a couple buddies, and brought it all in. He was fighting engine issues up until like last weekend. Remember, he's got a long drive, so he was testing and tuning and then loaded it in the truck and came on out. And I saw he brought a spare motor just in case. So Scott Lesage is in, just hit the Yukon course as we speak. There's a great shot of him on screen. Scott Lesage. So that physically puts him in third place, probably on corrected time. We'll see. Again, you can go to e-time it, we should have a link on our website for live timing every time they cross the 4 Wheel Parts finish line down by the big Nitto trailer. So far, physically and corrected time, it's Jamie McCoy, then it's Carson Atkins, and then we'll see what kind of time Scott Lesage, he should be crossing very soon. I think he does right now. So his second lap was a 26:06. So that puts him corrected time in 3rd position. So 1, 2, 3, it's just like they started. Jamie McCoy, Carson Atkins, Scott Lesage has jumped up a couple spots, but that puts him in that 3rd place spot. So we'll see if he can keep that going. He's coming up through the progressive hot pits at 25 miles an hour, keeping everybody safe. Scott Lesage running a great race, but Jamie McCoy is owning it as of now. Scott Lesage is running a NA motor, so he does not have any of the turbos like the first couple guys. But I'm kind of checking everything out. Looks like his car's doing good. Getting the big thumbs up from Scott Lesage heading out for his 3rd lap. So he is halfway through his race. Scott Lesage heading back into the woods. The dust is thick. The sun is out. The wind is starting to pick up just a tick, thankfully. Somebody's coming out of the woods hard, the 49.29. That's John Roginski physically in 4th position, all over the throttle on the MBRP straightaway. Getting ready to hit the King Shocks chevrons. And those are some deep holes for these UTVs. There's a... Thank you for everybody staying tuned in, ultra4racing.com/live. We also have one of our races, Ultra4 Australia, going off this weekend. They've teamed up with us. Their next race will be in September, just outside of Brisbane, Australia. And then we also have King of Britain getting ready to kick off August 1st and 2nd. And our one and only buddy Jim Marsden will be defending his title to be the King of Britain. We'll see if he can keep his luck going. This race is on corrected time. They took off in 30-second increments. Look how dusty the short course is. They could use a little bit more wind. You can see the Ford and the HCR flag just barely moving. But there's John Roginski, 49.32. No, sorry, 49.29. So we'll get a time for him. And I physically see the 2.25 coming out of Can-Am corner. That's Brandon Anderson. So physically in 4th position, John Roginski just threw down a 26.52. So that should put him corrected time around that 4th position also. But Brandon Anderson physically in 5th. I hear another one getting ready to hit the Can-Am corner. No, that is our race leader, Jamie McCoy. Looks like he'll be coming in the pits again. I see the passenger pointing at his pit crew saying, hey, get ready, I'm coming in. So Jamie McCoy having a little bit of issues again with his Can-Am. We'll see what's happening. Looked like he was pointing at his right front, but it looked like it had air, so not sure if it's an axle or suspension or what's going on, but he's hitting the King Shock chevrons pretty hard, so he must still be moving. Maybe he just wants something checked, because I believe it was the right front that he had a flat on his last lap, so maybe they didn't get something snugged all the way, worried about a loose lug nut or something. But Jamie McCoy and his Can-Am still out front, making dust. This is the 4-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee at the Adventure Off-Road Park, just outside of South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, just north of the Alabama border. Thank you to Ford, Nitto, Optima Battery, Monster Energy, RCV, HCR, 4-wheel parts, Holley EFI, Squatch Box, Box O'Toole, Savvy, Warren, Steal It, King Shocks, just to name a few. So thank you to all those guys. Without them, we would not be racing today. So please support who supports the sport. Getting a thumbs up from 4929, John Roginski.
Excellent, man. That was perfect.
Still waiting to see Jamie McCoy come into the Progressive hot pits. Don't quite see him yet, but boy, if Jamie McCoy can keep this Can-Am together, it's his race to lose. We started with 15 cars, but through my PCI race radio, I've heard there's at least 4 out already confirmed. And then Jamie McCoy has passed probably almost the entire field except for the top, probably 4 or 5. Started with 15 cars at 30-second increments. So I do have eyes on Jamie McCoy. So they're worried about the right front. They're not sure what exactly. We've got the pit crew shaking, so they must be checking an axle or something. All 4 tires look like they're up, but they're pointing towards the right front. You must hear some kind of a clink. Here comes James Cantrell into the Can-Am corner, hitting the NBRP straightaway. So it looks like they gave it a quick shakedown. Mr. Jamie McCoy heading out for his 4th lap, getting a thumbs up from Jamie McCoy. So he has finished 3 laps. I'll give you some lap times here in just a second. So 3 laps. His last lap was a 22:15. So still his fastest lap of the day was Jamie McCoy's first lap with a 17:26. But apparently he's gotten some chatter through the PCI race radios from his pit crew saying, hey, it's your race to lose. So, be fast, but be consistent. Watch out for those trees. Watch out for those rocks. Jamie McCoy out on his 4th and final lap. So it's definitely Jamie McCoy's race to lose. That Can-Am's looking good. They gave it a quick shakedown in the Progressive pits, but he's on a mission. I believe last year was his first year racing with us, but he races with us in a lot of other series also. He loves being behind the wheel, and he's proven why he deserves to be up front. He was our pole setter in the 4900 Can-Am UTV class, and he started in first position and hasn't been passed yet. Looks like James Cantrell just threw down a lap of 36:33. So he must have had some issues in the woods, but he's still moving in the 502 Mad Ram 11 UTV. I can see some Rigid Industry lights coming out of the woods. Who is it? It's going to be Scott Raymer, I believe. The 4934, Ross Pilgrim's old machine, Scott Raymer with Fuel Works. So James Cantrell respecting the 25-mile-an-hour line, getting a big thumbs up. He's excited. 502 Mad Ram 11, making some noise heading back into the woods. But he is a lap down on Jamie McCoy. This is the 125 coming out of the Progressive pits. That's going to be Malcolm McKenzie, part of Rufus Racing. They were in the pits for a little while, not sure what happened, but getting a thumbs up. Back on course, Malcolm McKenzie. Heading through the Nitto Arch. There's our screen that you guys can tune into. There's our live timing. So you can see the fastest lap is by Jamie McCoy with a 17:26. Then it was Carson Acton's fastest second lap was 17:40. But that number 3, he's completed 3 laps. So on screen, Scott Raymer, Fuelworks UTV. I see Justin Barth coming into the Can-Am corner, hitting the MBRP straightaway, getting ready to plop into the King Shock Chevron. Those are 3 little V'd out holes that we dug to slow everybody down. Keep everybody safe so they don't bomb into our short course at 100 miles an hour. So a huge shout out to all of our sponsors. Without those guys, we would not be racing here today. So Nitto, Progressive Insurance, Can-Am, Ford, and the Bronco, Monster Energy, Optima Batteries, 4-Wheel Parts, Warren Industry, King Shocks, Amsoil, Griffin, Holly EFI, Titan Fuel Tanks, Boxo Tools, Yukon Gear and Axle, Fab School, PCI Race Radios, Lasernut, Steel It, MBRP, Off the Grid Clothing, ARB, Rigid Industry Lights, VP Racing Fuel's fresh with us, and they're going to stick around all season long, bringing us fuel on site to every race. RCV, HCR, Brannick Motorsports, PRP, Speed Traps, Factor 55, Action Sports Canopy is keeping me in the shade all day long, Squatchbox, and last but not least, Savvy Off-Road. So again, huge shout out to those guys. Please help support them since they support us. Support who supports the sport. The wind is still blowing just a tick. The sun is out. There are clouds out in the background, but so far it's been splitting around us. We could use a little light rain, but we're not wanting a mud race. Except for the Rufus Racing guys. They put on those 43-inch TSL stickies. There's some mud hogs, and they're actually going to run them rain or shine because they're going for the extra ground clearance in some of those rocks back in the woods. So Zandy and Chip will be running those big tires. Most everybody else will be on 40-inch Nittos. There's a lot of Nittos on some of these UTVs out here. They're 32-inch Nitto tires on the UTVs. And then the 4600 Spider Track stock class has to have a 35-inch DOT tire. The 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle class has to have a 35-inch DOT tire. No, they can have 37s, sorry. And the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class can have a 37-inch DOT tire. And then Unlimited's unlimited. Up next is another Can-Am number 20 ZRP, Travis Zollinger, coming through Can-Am corner as we speak. Car still looks like it's running good. Has a left rear bed side that's flapping in the wind a little bit, so he must have caught a tree. So here's 417 Justin Barth giving a thumbs up, heading through the Nitto Arch, out on his next lap. So it's still just Jamie McCoy out on his 4th and final lap. So it's definitely his race to lose. We're in the dusty short course as we speak. We have our live tracker on the bottom, and that's Travis Zollinger on screen in his Can-Am, making some dust. Get a little donkey kick, and we'll get a live time for his lap right here. So Travis Zollinger. Just turned a lap of 39.32, so he must have had some issues out there. He just finished his 2nd lap, heading out on lap 3. So Jamie McCoy, if he can keep that Can-Am together, he's going to have it. I see the number 225 coming through. That's Brandon Anderson getting a thumbs up all over the throttle out of the progressive pits through the Nitto Arch. So here comes Travis Zollinger, Mr. ZRP, number 20 in his Can-Am. Giving a big thumbs up. He does have a little bit of rash on the left rear, so he must have either caught a tree or tipped her over, but he's still moving good. And something new for this year, we're doing the Ultra4 Garage feature on YouTube and Instagram TV. So if you want to show us what you're building, what's new with your car, get with Neil. You can go to neil@ultra4racing.com, and we'll do a quick little 2 or 3 minute video with you, building your car, showing you what's up. So if you're interested in that, please send us some footage for the Ultra4 Garage. That's new for 2020. Another new thing for 2020 is the Race Every Mile promotion. So any driver who completes every single mile in 2020 will receive, $1 per mile. So if you finish King of the Hammers, there's $212. But remember, every single mile of every single race. So it's the Nitto King of the Hammers was 212 miles. The 4-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee, depending on your class, there's another 50 miles to 80 miles or so. Next race will be the Laser Nut Rumble in Reno. And then the Nitto National Championship, we got Scott Raymer. He's giving me a thumbs up, but I hear a little bit of a rotating clunk, so not sure if it's an axle or one of his portals, but he doesn't seem too concerned, and he's back out on course. So it'll be, between $400 and $500, and they get a cool plaque and mentioned at our award ceremony after the Nitto National Championship. So that's another cool thing that Ryan and Dave have dreamed up. And then instead of racing in Mexico this year, we're going to do a Jamboree style down in San Felipe. So we'll have a lot of our big drivers down there just kind of eating some tacos and going out on some trail rides. So if you're a fan that wants to get involved, come on out. Bring your Ford Raptor, bring your daily driver Jeep, whatever you have. But I don't think the Ford Bronco will be out quite yet, but you may see one there. You never know. And speaking of the Ford Bronco, I'm pretty certain you'll see at least one running in the 4600 Spider Track stock class. So you can see in the background, that's the 4918 of Matt McIntosh making dust down the MBRP straightaway. Getting ready to hit the King Shock Chevron. So thank you for all the fans and racers coming out to the Adventure Off-Road Park. We had over 70 entries this race, which is up roughly 30% of last year. So thank you to all the racers for coming out. I know everybody's been itching to be racing. I know I have. We got a great crowd here on site. You can walk down pit row after the races and talk to all the racers. Everybody's super friendly here in the Ultra4 family. Huge shout out to the Hammer King production guys. There's Matt McIntosh hitting the Yukon gear and axle tabletop as we speak. And you can just see how dusty it is down there in the infield. And you heard Loren Healy and Shannon Campbell talk to me earlier today on how tight it is in the woods. So there isn't a whole lot of passing, but then you're going to have to battle the dust. So we'll have some drag races down this MBRP straightaway. And then that the short course down there is going to be interesting with how dusty it is. This is the 2020 four-wheel parts the four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. There's Matt McIntosh, the 4918, coming into the Progressive Insurance hot pits at 25 miles an hour. So I'll try to pull up the timing. So Matt McIntosh just turned a 31:39 for finishing his second lap, so he is halfway through his race. But it's still Jamie McCoy way out front. He's the only guy out on his fourth and final lap. Getting lots of chatter on race ops through my PCI race radio. So here comes Matt McIntosh, heading out on his third lap. Looks like the car's looking good. Getting a big thumbs up from co-driver and driver. Matt McIntosh back out on course. Just cruise through the Nitto Arch. There's a great shot out in the woods. That looks like it's Travis Zollinger. I remember he had a flapper on the left rear. Yes, it is number 20, ZRP. That just shows you how steep, how nasty this rock section is, because he usually rips, but that's one of those tight technical rock sections where trying to save the tire, trying to save the car. And like I said, you can tell he had an issue earlier, either with a tree or a slight rollover, but Travis Zollinger still running strong. I hear some noise coming from the woods. Who's it going to be? That's going to be Scott Lesage. So he's looking for a podium, I believe. That physically puts him in that second place position. So great job by Scott Lesage unofficially. This race is on corrected time, but I don't think there's anybody that can touch Jamie McCoy if he keeps his car together on his fourth and final lap. They are running 24 miles. They are 4 laps of 6 miles apiece, roughly. Scott Lesage running a very strong race. And remember, he's running an NA machine, so he's really down on horsepower. But, hey, smooth and consistent equals fast. Great shot of Scott Lesage hitting the Yukon gear and axle tabletop. So there's a cool thing. Jamie McCoy's average speed is 30 miles an hour. Scott Lesage still looking good, looking fast, smooth and consistent. He comes from the Southern California, San Diego area. So that's a long haul from him. That's some commitment. I was chatting with him. He's like, yeah, it was a long drive and I was still working, so I'd have to pull over every so often to have a conference call with his boss. So how cool is it for his boss to let him off, go drive down the road, come out here racing with us. So far, so good with the Hammer King safety crew, the Hammer King Productions, bringing you this live show. Thank you, everybody all over the world. Ultra4racing.com/live. I'm Miles Hasselquist, and I will be here with you the rest of the day and the rest of the season. We should be live all season long. Up next will be the Laser Nut Rumble in Reno, and then the Nitto National Championship at the Crossbar Ranch there in Davis, Oklahoma. So Scott Lesage doing 25 miles an hour in the progressive hot pits. It's probably about a 300-yard jaunt through here. Just trying to keep everybody safe. They have the option to pull in and let their team check out the car, but he's only got a couple buddies, and he's on the far end, so he's already passed his crew. But the car looks like it's in pretty good shape. All 4 tires still have air. Nothing's hanging off. Scott Lesage physically in second position and on corrected time. So Scott Lesage heading out on his 4th and final lap. We only have 2 guys out on that lap, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is Jamie McCoy and Scott Lesage, 1 and 2 so far. And I'm sure Jamie McCoy's getting some chatter on his PCI race radio saying, hey, Scott Lesage just came through, so you've got a 15-plus minute lead on him. So take your time, run a smooth and steady race, don't hit anything, and just bring it on in for the win. But somebody's making some noise out in the woods. They should be coming through Can-Am corner any second. I've got visual on somebody. That's going to be James Cantrell, number 502, Mad Ram 11. Still all over the throttle. He's having a great day of racing for him. So that's going to put him physically in 3rd position for that podium spot. So it's going to be really close between James Cantrell and Scott Lesage. But James... So Cantrell started in front of Lesage, so that does put Lesage corrected time in 2nd place and on corrected time. So he's got probably about I'm going to guess a 4 to 5 minute lead over Cantrell. So Cantrell always pushes hard, but I hope he's smart enough to tame back just a tick to keep on that podium position, because right now 1, 2, 3 have it pretty locked down. And is this Jamie McCoy? It is. We do have number 70, Jamie McCoy and his Can-Am coming into the MBRP straightaway. So it is going to be unofficially Jamie McCoy winning the 4-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee for the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class. He'll be finishing the short course here in just a few minutes. We'll bring him on up, and he's just got to wait until people come in. But like I said, there's no way, as long as he finishes, he's going to have this thing in the bag unofficially. There's James Cantrell on screen, physically in 3rd position. And Jamie McCoy almost lapped the entire field minus Lesage and Cantrell. Jamie McCoy was on fire today. So last lap for James Cantrell. Got another one coming out of the woods. We'll get some eyes on him shortly. But 1, 2, 3 is Jamie McCoy, Scott Lesage, James Cantrell.
Don't film me waving my arms fucking crazy now.
49-29, that's going to be John Roginski. And he's going to be fighting out with Cantrell. It's going to be close with them. So Cantrell heading out on his 4th and final lap. He's all pumped up, excited, going to hit the horsepower. Mad Ram 11, 502, James Cantrell heading out on his 4th and final lap, sitting in that 3rd position, chasing down Scott Lesage. But there is Jamie McCoy getting the checkered flag. What a great day of racing he put on.
Yeah, you're fine. Later, Miles is here.
Just want to interview you. I know you gotta go.
So unofficially, it is Jamie McCoy, number 70, in his Can-Am. we still have a lot of racers out on course. That's Scott Lesage, if I'm not mistaken, out in the woods, out on his 4th and final lap. John Roginski just crossed over.
We raced good last year, right, John? You're good.
Do what?
Ultra4.
We raced. We were East Coast champions rookie year.
Give me that Ultra4 hat.
You guys kick ass.
All right. Cool.
Tell me when. All right, Ryan Thomas here, and I've got Jamie McCoy, who is the unofficial winner of the UTV class here at the Four-Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee. You just smoked the field by a lap and maybe even a lap and a half. What's the secret?
Get you a Can-Am, boy.
There you have it, Can-Am. So we were all worried about rain and water and mud when we first got here this week, and it seems that it's been the least of our concern. How was the dust out there?
We didn't have no dust. We lapped a few people, but they got right out of the way. We wasn't in much dust at all.
Dust's never a problem when you're out front, right?
I guess not.
And you're a hometown hero here, hometown favorite. You're from Tennessee, and you get. Would you say that you guys were Rookie of the Year last year as well? Right on. Have you been out to Adventure Off Road Park before?
Here?
Yeah.
We've been here many times. But, I don't really like this place. It is really hard on a car, and it will destroy them. And you got to find that happy medium and let the race come to you. And I set a pretty good lap. Little Carson come in behind me. He got pretty close to me. He was pushing real hard, and I'm like, son, he's young. And I said, it ain't gonna hold up like that. So I set a little good pace, and then I got away from him. Had some issues, but I didn't really see anybody else after that.
But it's my first time here, and I got up into the rocks a couple days ago, and I could not believe how radical and gnarly some of that stuff is. So I will be right along with you, saying that this place is pretty brutal on cars. But it didn't seem to affect you. Did you have any mechanicals at all?
We had one flat, but I got a 9-year-old baby girl at home. Today's her birthday, and I got her a win, and I miss her real bad.
Right on. Well, hey, I heard that's why we stopped you right here, because you got to get home for that birthday celebration. So thanks, congratulations. This is unofficial right now, but I can't see why that it's going to be taken away from you. So congratulations, happy birthday. What's your daughter's name?
Mackenzie.
Wish her a happy birthday, man.
Right
Hopefully
on,
she's
happy
walking.
birthday, baby. Coming home.
Right on. Congratulations.
See you guys.
Good job.
Yeah, guys.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for interviewing Jamie McCoy on his unofficial first place finish. What a great run he had today. Now he can run home for that birthday celebration. Huge shout out to Jamie McCoy. What a great run. But we've had a lot of racers out there today. Jamie McCoy, Carson Atkins, Philip Poe, James Cantrell, Scott Lesage, Scott Raymer, Malcolm McKenzie, Travis Zollinger, John Roginski, Brandon Anderson, Justin Barth, Matt McIntosh, Cole Clark, John Rance, Jody Ford. We had 15 take the start. And we only have 4 people out on their last lap, including Jamie McCoy. So it's going to be down to the wire, but I think it's going to be obviously unofficial. Jamie McCoy 1, Scott Lesage 2, and I think it's going to be James Cantrell, but John Roginski could give him a run for his money. We'll see what happens. See how we can round out the podium.
Oh, I'm good. We'll do the next 2, second and third, and then I've got to go back to the start.
So another great look at the Nitto start line there. We have Ryan Thomas, our president of Ultra4, at the finish line right now. We have the 1-2-5 coming through. That's Malcolm McKenzie heading out for another lap, getting a big thumbs up. There he goes, part of Rufus Racing, back to live race course, because in the progressive pits, what a great day of racing we've had today. We started out with the Youth 170s for a little fun run with the little guys and gals. We just are hot and heavy, just wrapping up the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class. Jamie McCoy in that Can-Am unofficially locked down first place by, I'm going to guess, 15 minutes or so. We still don't have second place. I think it's going to be Scott Lesage and then James Cantrell, but John Rzazinski could sneak in there. We'll see for this podium position. Everybody's been itching to race for roughly, 5 months now with all the craziness that's going on. But it's just great to be out here. You know, we're social distancing, wearing our masks when we need to. This park is 600 acres, so it lets us spread out. I hear some more exhaust out in the woods. That's going to be the 417 of Justin Barth hitting the Can-Am corner, opening it up on the MBRP straightaway, getting ready to hit the King Shocks Chevrons. It's been a great day of racing for the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. You can see one of our workhorse Can-Ams underneath the Nitto start line, blocking off the start line. The start is closed. Anybody else that comes through will be their last lap, whether it's been 4 or not. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be Scott Lesage, James Cantrell, or John Rzazinski? It's going to be close.
We just only want to.
Huge shout out to all of our sponsors for making it happen out here today. Nitto, Can-Am, Ford, Monster, Optima, Four Wheel Parts, and Progressive. Those are our main sponsors of this series and this race, so a huge shout out to all those guys. Without them, we would not be racing today. This is the Four Wheel Parts Eastern race. Next up will be the Laser Nut Western race at the Laser Nut Rumble in Reno, and that'll set everything up for the Nitto National Championship there in Davis, Oklahoma, at the Crossbar Ranch. It's a 6-mile loop out there. These guys are running 24 miles in this race. Later on today, we'll send out the modified class, or the Everyman Challenge classes. We'll have the 4600 Spider Track stock class, the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle modified. Those two will be racing 4 laps. No, sorry, the stock will do 4. Yukon Gear and Axle modified class will do 6 laps. The 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class will do 6 laps as well. And then the 4400 Nitto Unlimited class will do 8 laps, roughly 40 miles of wide open racing. Unlimited horsepower, unlimited suspension, unlimited tires. Most of them running those 40-inch Nittos, but we saw the Rufus guys put on those 43-inch TSL stickies, so it'll be interesting to see how that strategy plays out. They were doing their rain dance last night, but hasn't worked yet, thank goodness. The sky is blue, but there are quite a few clouds out there. The wind has picked up just a tick. This is the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee for the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV race. So Justin Barth finished 3 laps. We closed the start line so he cannot go out for his final lap. So I think it's down to the wire. It's going to be Scott Lesage, James Cantrell, and John Roginski. Remember, everything I do say is unofficial. Till we dot our I's, cross our T's, make sure everybody's good to go, and then we'll, like I said, I don't think there's any way Jamie McCoy won't hold this thing down, but we'll find out here shortly. But he ran an amazing race in that Can-Am. I hear another UTV coming out of the woods. Sounds like another Can-Am. Could it be Travis Zollinger? Number 20 ZRP, Travis Zollinger coming through. He'll be finishing his 3rd lap. That will be his final lap, hitting the BRP straightaway, getting set up for the King Shock Chevron. Scott Raymer not too far behind him, finishing his 3rd lap, I believe. So to make the podium, it's down to those last 3 guys, Scott Lesage, James Cantrell, and John Roginski. Remember, this race is on corrected time. They started in 30-second increments. Jamie McCoy started out front and never once got past. Had to change one right front. Came in the next lap to kind of check something out. He had some kind of noise, but apparently it was good enough to keep on running. Thank you for everybody tuning in here on site and back at home all over the world. Ultra4racing.com/live. Get on the King of the Hammers page, hit that share button. Get on the Ultra4 Instagram, hashtag it up. Our next race will be the Limited Series, starting right around 12:30. So in about an hour, we'll kick off the next race. Clear the course, get everything ready to rock and roll. That will be the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle modified class, the 4600 Spider Tracks stock class, and the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. There's Scott Raymer on screen in the infield. Another thing we're super excited about here at Ultra4 is VP Racing Fuel has came on board, and they just signed the contract for the rest of the season. So they'll come to every single race with race fuel so the teams don't have to worry about hauling it clear across the nation. I know Loren Healy runs VP, so he'll be very excited about that. So huge shout out to VP Racing Fuels for showing up to the rest of the season with racing fuel. And they will be at the 2021 Nitto King of the Hammers, powered by Optima Battery. This is our 2nd race of the season. With as crazy as the world went, we're back to somewhat of a normal. This is the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. It's going to be close. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Scott Lesage? Is it going to be James Cantrell or John Roginski? They're out on their woods lap. It's just over 5 miles out in the woods. There's lots of tight turns, lots of huge hill climbs, lots of loose rocks out there, lots of trees that could bite you, stumps that could bite you. So it's anybody's race to fill out the podium out of those 3. We started out with 15, but carnage set in quick. We had 8 people take advantage, new for this season. The first round is on us here at Ultra4, so if it's your first race ever racing with us, we cover your entry fee, get you hooked, and bring you back for the rest of the season and more. I've met quite a few of the new racers. They're excited to be here. We're excited to have them and add them to the Ultra4 family. I hear some noise out in the woods. That's pretty loud. Could it be James Cantrell? Did he get around Scott Lesage? No, that is Scott Lesage. So Scott Lesage physically in second place, still running strong. Him and Cantrell sound very similar heading down MBRP straightaway. So physically and on corrected time, unofficially looks like it could be Scott Lesage. It has to be because he started right behind, 30 seconds behind James Cantrell. So Cantrell had to finish 30 seconds in front of him, which he will not unless Lesage has an issue in the infield. But I think I hear Cantrell now, so it's going to be close. But like I said, if Lesage finishes in front of Cantrell, it's going to be his race. Unofficially confirmed, yes. So when I see you come to screen, it's yours. So we have Scott Lesage in the infield as we speak, getting chased down by James Cantrell. So it looks like unofficially it's going to be Scott Lesage. So we'll get our president, Ryan Thomas, to have a little chat with him, still carrying a right front tire. But Scott Lesage unofficially grabs second position. So great run for him. So we'll get Ryan Thomas to have a little chat with him. And James Cantrell is going to be right behind him, but unofficially it's going to be in that order. So it'll be Jamie McCoy, Scott Lesage, then James Cantrell. What a race those guys had for 24 wild miles out in the woods. So we'll be kicking off the limited race here in just under an hour. So we'll get Ryan Thomas chatting with Scott Lesage, followed by James Cantrell. So unofficially again, Jamie McCoy, Scott Lesage, and James Cantrell rounding out the podium. So I'm up at the Nitto start. We have Ryan Thomas, the president of Ultra4, at the 4-wheel parts finish line. So he'll have a chat with our guys here shortly. You can see everybody clapping their hands, getting excited.
Come a little bit closer.
So I will be passing the torch to Ryan Thomas here very soon. But what an amazing day of racing we've had, and we're only halfway through it for the 2020 4-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee.
Test.
We're just wrapping up the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class. There's a great shot of Ryan Thomas talking to Scott Lesage. What a race he had. Both of those guys, all three of them, they earned it today. So Scott Lesage is crawling out of the machine, all smiles, giving thumbs up to Cantrell because they finished within a minute of each other. But Lesage got around Cantrell, so corrected time. Unofficially, as long as everybody did what they were supposed to, that's how it should pan out. So we will be kicking off the limited classes at 12:30 roughly Central Time.
No cheating.
So that'll be 10:30 PST. Scott's crawling out of the car, so is James Cantrell. James already having a little party favor. Nothing like an hour and a half of wide open racing and then hopping
1,
straight
2,
out.
3,
These
4,
guys got to be excited.
7, 8.
So I'm ready to pass the torch anytime. Looks like Scott's ready. Looks like Ryan's ready.
Whenever you want, Ron.
Okay. We need hair and makeup for the driver. Yeah, feel good. Really good.
So Ryan Thomas, looks like
Hang
you're
tight.
up.
We're going to get you on camera here in a second, okay?
Looks like you're standing down there with Scott Lesage. Take it away, Ryan Thomas.
So Ryan Thomas here with Scott Lesage and an unofficial second place finish at the UTV race here at the Teardown in Tennessee. You got the field fairly well covered up, the top three here. What was the secret to your success today?
Well, I don't want to get away with any secrets, but the car is really good in the rocks, and so you just kind of be patient. That's what I did. The first 2.5 laps, just be patient, be patient, be patient. And you saw a lot of broken cars, and I've said that a lot of times. You know, KOH is the same thing. Just kind of be patient, let it come to you. So that's kind of my MO. I know a lot of the guys here because we chase the series points together, and so they're always like, yeah, he's not the fastest, but you can't knock him out. Like, you can't keep him out. So that's kind of my MO, and I stick to that. I mean, I run a non-turbo car. It's not gonna catch up unless it's really hard or if people have mistakes. So the harder the better for me. Yeah.
You got anybody you want to thank for helping you get here?
Yeah. I gotta thank Alba specifically because we lost the motor in this car a week ago, and so they were so helpful at getting me parts, and we tried to fix it, and that didn't work, and so I ended up pulling the motor out and getting it to them. They turned it around for me really fast, and I can't thank them enough for just going above and beyond for getting me here. It's a lot. And then also RT Pro and Fox, they're a little bit of my secret to success. I spent a lot of time on suspension, and so the car just kind of walks through the rocks a little bit more composed than other competitors. And then also the Maxxis tires, you can't compete with those Maxxis tires. They're so good. So I really want to thank them and Alba Maxxis, RT Pro, Fox. DWT, RCV is here, kind of nice, this local race for them. PCI and Warren, they help out as well. So the whole car has really come together. It's an older car, it's a 14. So I've been able to get the best parts available and kind of get all the best companies on board. So it's really worked out well.
How's it feel to be back racing?
Well, a long time coming, I think. I probably could have used that time better. If I went out and tested sooner, I wouldn't have blown a motor a week before the race. So I probably could have used that time better. But man, I'm excited to be here. I'm from San Diego. It took me about 50-something hours to get to my buddy's place in Mississippi, then another 4. So it's been a long road to get here for me personally. And it's I'm just so stoked. It all hung together. Nothing all day. Just keep moving, keep making progress. My pit was giving me times. Thanks, guys. And I knew he was behind me, but I had him on time, and so that last lap, I want to see my time. I was cooking that last lap, so I'm sure who won?
Jamie McCoy.
Yeah,
well, unofficial.
Unofficial Jamie. I figured he'd go flag to flag and kind of leave everybody. But yeah, it was a great race. I didn't see that many people. The dust in the woods is not bad. Mud's not bad. It was fun.
Yeah, I think we lucked out here on the weather. Well, looking forward to seeing you at Hammers. Are we going to see you at Hammers next year?
Oh, absolutely. I finished 12th this year, and so this with a second unofficial here puts me in a really good spot for national championship.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. We're going to get with the unofficial third place finisher here shortly, but once again, congratulations, Scott.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ryan Thomas and Scott Lesage. Congratulations on your unofficial second place. Great job, buddy. And thank you again, Ryan Thomas. He is our new Ultra4 president. He's kind of helping me down. I can't be at all spots all over this race course, so he's a pro. He knows what to do. He's helping me out. But what a great day of racing we're having. For the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. This is our second race in this series. Our first one was the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers powered by Optima Battery. Now we're here at the four-wheel parts teardown at Tennessee for the Eastern race. Next up will be our Western race, our Laser Nut Rumble in Reno at the Wild West Motorsports Park. And then last but not least, the Nitto National Championship. We moved it to our Oklahoma location in Davis, Oklahoma at the Crossbar Ranch. So that'll be our fourth and final race of the year. But don't forget, we also have the Jamboree Thanksgiving weekend down in San Felipe, Mexico. With everything, the way the world's going, we're going to skip racing down in Mexico, so we're going to do just a fun run down there, and hopefully we'll be racing in Mexico next year. There's rumors of racing in Sturgis, South Dakota next year during the bike rally. There's talks of Moab maybe, so Dave and Ryan got a lot of tricks up their sleeve. I'm excited for next year's season since this one kind of got cut short. But we are here. We are racing. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live. We will be live racing for the modified limited classes at 12:30 Central Time, 10:30 PST. We'll be racing the 4600 Spider Track stock class, the 4500 Yukon gear and axle modified class, and Casey Gilbert, fastest guy of the day for those classes, will be taking the pole for the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. So we're still waiting for James Cantrell and Ryan Thomas to link up. So again, huge shout out to all our sponsors that make this happen. Nitto, Can-Am, Ford, Monster, Optima, Four Wheel Parts, Progressive Insurance, Warren Winch, King Shocks, Amsoil, Griffin Radiator, Holly EFI, Titan Fuel Tanks, Boxo Tools, Yukon Gear and Axle, Fab School, PCI Race Radios has kept us in communication all day long, Laser Nut, Steal It, MBRP, Off the Grid Clothing, ARB Rigid Lights, VP Racing Fuel was here on site, RCV, HCR, Brannick, PRP, Speed Straps, Factor 55, Action Sports Canopy has kept me in the shade all weekend long, Squatchbox and Savvy. So it looks like Ryan Thomas has James Cantrell, so back to you, buddy.
All right, I'm here with James Cantrell, unofficial third-place finisher in the Teardown in Tennessee UTV race. You guys, the three of you guys, I mean, it was amazing how far out in front you guys were. Anything you want to share with the crowd about what made it successful for you?
Man, it was a rough race. We had a lot of trouble after lap one. We lost brakes in the car. We boiled on Gilbert Motorsports all day, and their crew jumped in, got it going, took back off. Then the battery cable came off the battery. Lug fell out. Team Rufus jumped right in. I actually died right in front of their pits. They hopped right in, got it back on, lost about, I'd say, 15, 20 minutes. And after that, we just put it on the floor. I don't know how the BFG tires are still in the car. I mean, we were hitting everything out there and just trying to make up time.
So did you see a lot of carnage out on the track? Were there guys stuck and broke and off to the side?
Man, there's carnage everywhere. Coming through on lap 2, there was already broken cars all over the course. I mean, quarter mile in, there was broken cars. It's a brutal course for a UTV. AOP's got some real legit rocks at this place.
No question, legit rocks. I heard you talking to Scott. Are we going to see you at the Hammers this year?
Yes, sir. We'll be at the Hammers. We've been going for 5 years. Wouldn't miss it. It's one of those, once you go once, you'll never miss it again.
Well, congratulations on the unofficial third, and looking forward to seeing you in February.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day.
All right, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy. Let's go get some drinks.
Hey! Golden throat charmers. Throat charmers.
I am going to.
Well, thank you, Ryan Thomas, and congratulations to James Cantrell for rounding out the podium unofficially. We'll dot our I's, cross our T's, make sure everything's official. But so far, it looks like it's going to be Jamie McCoy, Scott Lesage, and James Cantrell. So a huge shout out to those three for rounding out the podium of 24 miles of brutal racing. But Jamie McCoy and that Can-Am owned it all day long. So we're just wrapping up the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class here at the 2020 Four-Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee. Up next, we will have the limited class racing starting around 12:30. That'll be the 4600 Spider Track stock class, the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle modified class, and the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. We'll have 3 races going on at the same time, so that'll keep me on my toes. We are going to start the 45 and the 4800 cars, how they qualified, so they'll be intermixed, but it is still scored individually, so I'll be messing that up a little bit. I'll do my best, and then we'll start the 4600 Spider Track stock class in the rear. So I think we're going to run a few commercials here while we have a little break in the action. I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with live racing. Probably we'll start them at 12:30, but I'll probably come back right around 12:20 or so. So I'll see you guys in roughly 23 minutes. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist. We'll see you for some live racing very soon. Thank you again.
So, you know, we're about a month into when we first shut down our factories. And in the last 30 days, we started with nothing but ideas to help combat the coronavirus. And now we've grown to multiple efforts that include making ventilators with GE Healthcare at our Rawsonville factory. We're making powered air purifying respirators at our Vreeland facility near Flat Rock. And we're making surgical masks at our Van Dyke transmission plant. You know, all this is what Ford does. It's in our DNA. If you go back to World War II, you know, we built more than 270,000 Jeeps, and we built B-24 Liberator bombers at our Ypsilanti plant. But when there's a time of need for the U.S., we pitch in and we immediately move to help. It's what makes me so proud to work for Ford Motor Company. It's been really amazing, and it's been something that's been an honor to actually help make a difference as quickly as possible here in the fight against the coronavirus.
Steven Rogers.
In Johnson Valley, California for the King of the Hammers, the Nitto Ultra4 Championship.
We have the best off-road drivers in the world lined up for the start of this race. That first place is a poison chalice at the moment.
At this point, it still is anyone's race.
Could this be the first Queen of the Hammers 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers?
Pulled off the race course. He is underneath the back of that rig, and Cameron Steele is right behind her. It looks like they are definitely down and out at this point. This race is a nasty race.
And we're struggling to find cars still running.
Problem with Bailey's car is a water pump. The question would be if they're going to be able to get one taken out to them. Oh, and here we're watching Shannon.
Kept on charging, and we dropped her pump off, and now she's moving again.
Loren Healy, he is out of the race.
Definitely something somewhere has gone wrong with Jason
We're
Shearer.
still looking at Loren. Definitely still stopped.
Working hard to get back into this race.
Just terrible news for Marcos Gomez, but in true Hammers, he's still pushing through. We've seen multiple people cross the line on 3 wheels. Out of nowhere, Eric Miller shows up to the party. There's no way to call this race at this point in time. Josh Blyder, the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers champion.